Wait, I have a question. So if you think I do think body count is important. I do think statistically it's important, because the more bodies that a person has, both male and female, the higher the divorce rate is, and the more unhappy that you're going to be. But so you said it was weird for like men to want like young virgins. I really don't think that there are like old virgins around. But also, then, is it weird that like a 50-year-old wanted something with you that was like intimate?
Oh, with me as a 26-year-old?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be weird.
But you said you did.
I did,
right?
yeah, and that was weird.
Okay.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
Weird for you or for him?
Weird on his part. I mean, you know.
Well, where's the accountability?
Right.
I mean, you were 26, right?
I was 21 at the time.
Okay, adult.
Yeah,
for
I was
3
an
years.
adult. No, I mean, I'm not saying that. Oh my God, that I was groomed or something. But like, I mean, I was just trying to have a good time. I was like, oh my God, he has a lot of money. But like, I feel like the weird part stands on him. I mean, I was just there.
Do you think you were sorry?
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Do you think that that's reinforcing his behavior, though?
In what sense?
I just feel like even if you think it's wrong and you still participate in it, that's kind of justifying it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm not saying that
it's kind of enabling.
I'm not saying that he's wrong. It's just weird. There's a difference between like something being like inherently wrong and then something that is a little weird. Like, and honestly, we like dated, but it wasn't like super serious. Like, we're never gonna get married or anything. It was very much casual. But I think it's weird and also I wasn't a 21-year-old who was like a virgin or anything. I think it's weird for men who are, you know, older, who want to marry and kind of, in my opinion, groom young women, especially if they're 18, 19, who like haven't had sex yet, or honestly, even any woman who hasn't had sex yet, if you're an experienced man. I think that's very strange.
That I agree with. Because I feel like but you said like it's weird for men to want like young virgins. I feel like there's a big difference between like a 50-year-old man wanting like an 18-year-old virgin and like a you know, a 30-year-old or a 27-year-old wanting like a virgin.
I agree.
Or a good girl. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, I completely agree with you.
I also, can I just say?
Yeah, go ahead.
I also think that like from my conversations that I've had, I always find that it is girls typically with very high body counts that tend to believe that body counts do not matter. And that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I also feel like women with low body counts kind of want like a little like reward for like not doing that, which is great. Like, I mean, good for you. But yeah, I could say the same thing.
Well, I feel like
that women with low body counts feel like they're better than women with high body counts.
I don't think it's a better thing. I think it's just like a thing. Like, I think it should be acknowledged that in like a world where it's like everyone's hooking up with each other and that's the easiest thing to do, and to not be promiscuous, I do think that in and of itself is something that's like recognizable.
I think it's unfair to a lot of women. I mean, I'm going to keep myself out of this because I personally feel that it's unfair. And I think somebody was on here. I watched an episode a couple of days ago. It was somebody's husband, Billy something's husband.
Yeah.
He mentioned how it's kind of unfair to blame women these days for having a higher body count, because we were kind of told that, oh, it's great, it's okay. And then all of a sudden, like, I want to say, like, I never heard about body count at all, you know, after high school. You know, I'm 26 now, and then now that I'm 26, like last year I started hearing about it again, and like it's kind of weird because I feel like it didn't matter. And also I find it to be kind of juvenile. I mean, if a guy asked me my body count, I would be like, how old are you? Like, it should not matter. It's not.
Well, if he wanted a serious relationship with you and wanted a marriage with you, I mean, it's statistically, the marriage success rate goes down the toilet, and women are 80% of marriage, 50% of marriages in the United States end in divorce, and 80% of those are initiated by women, which is directly correlated to if you have slept with more people and you have more bodies on your record, you're more likely to get a divorce. So I don't think it's unfair for a man to ask, hey, how many men have you been with in the past? Because that's going to impact him in his future too.
And I also think there's a difference between like some random person asking your body count and someone who genuinely wants to have a relationship with you and be intimate with you. I think that body count is important to the person that you're with and being intimate with. I think that's fair.
I mean, like I said, I have no issue with people like having issue with body count, but only if their body count is also like low. Like I just don't like how men will come on here or like any other podcast or just vocalize how they are allowed to have sex with 300, 400 women, but then expect to be with a woman with 1 or 2.
Oh, well, no, a man, that's
like, yeah.
Hold on just a sec.
Donated
Thank you, Prometheus.
$100. I sort of agree as I watched how the relationship between Little Ed and Liz Wood's relationship is a mess, but that's exaggerated TV. I've been with someone with a high body count and the one with a lower one. The lower one showed sympathy unlike the other.
Thank you, Prometheus. Appreciate it. He's been with someone with high. Okay. All right. Continue with your point.
I also wanted to add that I feel like it's less about how many people you slept with.
Thank you, Flan Life, for the 20 gifted memberships. Appreciate it. You think it's less about?
It's less about how many people you slept with and more about like your experience with relationships. Like I feel like one bad relationship will truly taint a man or woman for their future ones. I think it's less about casual sex. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've seen the studies and whatnot. I think that's one study. I don't know if there's been multiple. So I don't have a lot to comment on the one study. Oh, closer.
Do you agree that psychologically, though, the more people that women sleep with, it changes the chemicals like in your brain to where you're enabled to have a longer term relationship with a man?
That's like an
No,
actual study.
science.
It's been done.
No, I mean,
I
I personally don't have issues with relationships at all or falling in love. The one thing that did change me personally was like this one bad experience that I had with a man, and that's what I feel like is more detrimental as opposed to like sleeping with a bunch of people. I don't think that it really matters that much.
Well, you mentioned that, well, having a specifically one bad toxic relationship may have more of a negative impact than having high body count, but it can be both. I mean, certainly, yes, if you have one singular bad relationship, that could potentially have a negative impact on your future relationships, but certainly if you've had like a long string of transient sexual partners, you've had 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 one-night stands or short-term whatever, that has a negative impact too.
I think it kind of depends on like, especially when it comes to women. So when I was in high school, a lot of like my friends like just would have sex with guys because they didn't know how to say no, and that I think that can be traumatic and that can change you. But I mean, are we just like doubting like women's sexuality? Like some women are just fucking
no, I think there's a difference
there's
a difference though between doubting a woman's sexuality and then borderline being like it's okay to sleep with whoever you think you want to or who you're attracted to at the time. And like Morgan said, like statistically it's been proven that like women are getting divorces literally because of their body counts, quite literally. I think it does make commitment harder, and I don't believe women who have high body counts feel good about themselves. I don't know how someone can feel like good about themselves having so many, and I'm not attacking you personally, I'm just saying like in general, like I don't know how I could feel good about myself having like so many bodies to the point where like I've lost track.
Well,
before I have you respond, you wanted to come in. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say you can be horny and control your desires.
Yeah.
That's not really an
There's
excuse
also
at
other
all.
ways
how come we don't expect that for men though?
I do.
No,
I don't like
do.
when men have a high
Yeah.
body count.
I think that there's a difference between men and women. I do believe that sometimes men need to like get it out of their system, but I'm not saying that men should be able to sleep with 50 plus women because they're men. And I think that's where people like get confused too. Like even with conservatism, like, oh, men need to get it out of their systems. They can like sleep with whoever. No, that's disgusting to me too. Why would I, if my body count is so low, or I've like worked hard to like preserve myself for my husband, why would I want to marry someone who has 40 bodies, 50 bodies, 60 bodies?
But also, I want to mention that study that you're referencing, it talks about people who have, like, there's a big difference in when it comes to divorce, when it comes to people who have had more than one body count. Beyond that, and it's the same for men and women.
It's more pronounced in women.
But also,
it's
yeah,
more
I
in
mean,
women.
also, yeah, if you have more experience, like naturally, like you're gonna like not accept the lease. And yeah, if you only slept with one person your entire life, like you're not gonna have the experience or maybe even like the confidence to want to leave that person. And I don't think
it's experience.
And I think divorce is fine, by the way. I don't know.
You think divorce is fine?
100%.
Even if there's kids involved, you think divorce is fine?
Yes, I'm a child of divorce, and I'm glad my parents got divorced.
And you think that your life spanned out the way that you wanted to? Because
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
My parents fought all the time when I was a kid. And actually, I feel like their fighting almost was more detrimental than them getting divorced.
I mean, I feel like in situations like that, it's a little bit different, right? Where there's like an abusive situation.
No,
or, like,
no, it was not abusive, like not physical.
emotionally abusive, yelling, right?
Just a lot of yelling,
Arguments,
yeah.
So I would feel like I'd consider that like under the guise of like abuse. But also too, like the marriage thing, like a lot of people, like in America, we've had 53 years of no fault divorces. People have been able to get divorces for whatever reason they feel like. And I feel like that has like been against our demise, where people like get marriages, and like Adam 22 is the perfect example. I think it's an absolute mockery of marriage and what it should be. Or like even like you sitting here like single or whatever, like not married, like being okay with like divorce. Like I guess I just can't like wrap my mind around that. I feel like that's detrimental to like you, your husband, your future kids. I feel like it's very unfair to your future children, especially if they are involved.
I think it depends on the scenario, but if it was like a divorce where there was just it was detrimenting the whole family, and everybody went to counseling, I do believe you should at least go to some sort of
100%.
counseling. You got to try to make it work. You can't just be like, oh, I'm splitting. But I do feel serial remarriers, they need to fix themselves.
Yes, 100%.
And it's like, if you see yourself getting divorced, getting married, you start checking why you're either attracting these types of people or why.
Valdev donated $100. Blue Tank fam, how you gonna show up with a lure crank to 10 and talk about sexuality? You know what you're doing. At Ariel, the abs plate is for sure foreplay. I got you, Conan 18 ladies, rich man or combat effective man.
I wish I knew what he said. Blue Tank, that's me.
We're gonna need like a some sort of cipher, something to decipher this riddle.
I think
this
he's
riddle
commenting on
here.
your outfit.
Oh.
I mean, I'm just trying to decipher this
mean,
for you.
Oh, we have another one.
_guy_in_Canada donated $99. Body count is a dumb conversation because it's not zero sum. If guys want women with lower body counts, they should stop increasing them.
That's another thing I want to talk about. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, on that topic though, what I would say is there's a smaller proportion of men that are supposedly responsible for increasing women's body count.
But it's kind of like the OnlyFans thing too. Like a lot of men will be like, "Oh, this is so bad and it's so horrible." But who's creating the supply? I mean, who's creating the demand, and then who's meeting the supply? Like, do I know women who do OnlyFans and like making six figures? Do I necessarily blame them? No. You know, but
Especially
the same men
this
that like, I mean, I think that there's definitely.
I'm so with you. Men should not be spending money on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Because the men are instigating the women to continue
Right.
doing it, but then if the men are like, well, I don't want to marry someone who has a high body count, but then they're
Yeah,
also
thank you,
instigating it.
Flamma.
It's a two-way
Right,
street.
exactly, yeah.
100%.
Men are also doing it as well.
Right, yeah.
Doing OF?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's men who do OnlyFans.
Actually,
A
I
lot of
do
men are doing
I have an
OnlyFans,
OnlyFans.
and a lot of their audience are other men
You have
as
an
well.
OnlyFans?
Yeah, but it's like a meme. I don't I'm not posting like nudes and it's just like
I guess
like,
now you don't have to.
There's like 2 photos of Kiki on there. It's just for jokes. But
I will say my fiance and I never talked about body count until we started watching whatever. And then like, everyone was talking about it. Oh,
hold on just a
Curtis
second. Yo, thank you,
donated
Curtis.
$99. Body count is in every episode. I don't seem to care. When you really think about it, you can just lie. A chick could have been bred by $50. I wouldn't be able to judge them. I could just tell chicks I'm a virgin till they meet my kid.
that's a
When
good
someone
one.
has a high body count, I feel like you can always tell. There's
There's
always
some-
something
There's some
that
signs.
somebody has a high body count.
There's
Both in
something.
men
There's
and in
flags.
women, yeah.
Out of curiosity, I want to
Thank
know
you,
what
Curtis.
you guys. Sorry, I want to know what everybody's stances on hypothetically if a woman were to have a high body count or be promiscuous, and then, for lack of better words, be remorseful about it.
I think that
Our
there's a
thoughts
lot
on
of
that,
women.
Yeah, I'm
or-
just curious.
I think that there's.
If that's
hold on.
Devon
Okay.
Jackson
Thank you
donated
guys. Appreciate it.
$100. Stop blaming men for grown independent women's decisions. Having a high body count comes with a set of habits the average man would prefer his wife not exemplify.
Facts.
True.
That's just fact. That's facts. It's facts.
Facts.
It's facts.
Big
Thank
facts.
you, Davon.
To answer your question, I feel like there's a lot of women who were lied to, and like I have friends who are older who have said, like you even said, like body count really wasn't even talked about, and I think that there's a lot of women specifically in feminism who were lied to say that this was empowering and that they would have time later on in their lives for like a family, and that there was no need to do that in their 20s. And now that most of them, and people even I know, find themselves like remorseful for their lifestyles, unmarried, no children, and I think that if they're remorseful for the lifestyle, I think that's okay, as opposed to like being like proud of their lifestyle and like standing by it.
Do you think that sex positivity is kind of like a ruse that's in the interest of men?
I think that it definitely benefits men, and that's why like I don't understand why so much women harp on it, because it's literally like you're being used and it's at your demise. Like it only benefits one person and it's not you.
If sex work was truly empowering for women, men would not support it.
Exactly.
If we're being honest.
100%.
I also think the modern feminist movement has completely lied to women to be empowered, to enable them to go into sex work, which is just a lie. I mean, men are the ones that are, again, supplying that. To, I mean, OnlyFans really is the biggest PIMP of it all, taking 20% of every single woman's money that they're making on this account by posting nude images of themselves under the guise of being empowering. And so it's just another lie that, I mean, the feminist movement has continued to sell to women, on top of like even the birth control movement. When birth control came out, it was being able to be sexual and sleep around with people with no consequences. And that's when that started to come out. In the early times, that's why it was put on the market. You know, why aren't men having birth control? I'm not on birth control at all, but I think there's multiple moments in history that women have just continuously been lied to and encouraged to have a higher body count.
Matthew McCarthy donated $99.